KD's teammates, who's doing the talking, he told basketballnews.com that Nets fans shouldn't temper expectations about the upcoming season. Asked how KD is looking behind the scenes, Nets center Jared Allen said, "I'll just keep it short and simple. KD is back again." So with that being said, should we have doubts about KD being KD this season, Stephen A. and Perk back here with us?
No. Did you ever hear doubts coming out of my mouth, Molly, in the last year and a half that we've talked about Kevin Durant? Ever once? Any doubts at all?
No, sir.
And it ain't going to happen now. And here's the reason why. If KD was Michael Jordan, if he were, back in the day, let me go old school, the David Thompson, the Dr. J. Julius Irvins of the world, stuff like that, and their game was predicated on their elite athleticism, that would be one thing. But even though we know KD to be a great athlete, what stands out to me is the combination of his sniper-like marksmanship combined with the fact that he's 6'11" with a 7'6" wingspan. You understand that Kevin Durant barely has to jump. He can damn near tippy-toe to dunk, for crying out loud, because that's how tall he is with that damn wingspan, okay? And so if you're guarding him, what are you going to do to contest his shot? Even if he doesn't have to jump. That's why I view him as somebody who can average the career 27-point per game scorer that he is. He can do that in his sleep. Now, there are other elements that come along with the game. You know, your lateral movement, your ability to defend, you handling the ball, trying to create shots off the dribble. I get all of that, and I understand that. And if he's not healthy, that can be compromised. But it has been a year and a half that he's been out of competition. They say it takes you about a year to get healthy, to get healthy enough to play, and almost 2 years to be fully recovered from it. Fair enough. The man hasn't played in over a year and a half. And so to me, I look at it and I say to myself, I'm anticipating the season progressing come springtime into the summer, because the season's not going to end until late July. And by the time May rolls around, do I think he's going to be 100%? Yes. I'm not worried about KD in the slightest. He's going to average at least 25. He's going to be just fine.
Saying KD's going to average 25, talking about his wingspan and his height and the style of play, that's fine. But is he going to be KD? KD is not just a dude who rolls out of bed and averages 25. KD is a special, historically different, all-around player at his size. And he became an excellent defender. Not all that long ago, became an excellent defender. When you look at recovery from Achilles throughout history, Breonna Stewart notwithstanding, right? It almost never happens that the person's 100% again. Almost never. Dominique Wilkins came back, and part of what he did was he shot the ball better. How much, Dominique had areas of his game that he could improve. What area of KD's game? Is he going to shoot it even better now to compensate for something? Kobe Bryant was never the same, obviously. I mean, he was older, but he was never the same. Most players who come back from Achilles, the vast majority of them who ever lived, are not the same. Now, is 80% of KD going to be hard to tell the difference? Yeah, 80% of KD is not just an all-star. It's more than that. But that doesn't mean he's going to be the same guy. Like the MVP, the heir apparent to LeBron, the guy who's challenging LeBron as best player in the game. That's not what that means. It means he can still be an effective player. He might win a championship. I think if he does, it would prove greatness in a way he hasn't had to yet. But all that is different than saying he's coming back at 100%. And if you do believe he's coming back at 100%, maybe he does. I was wrong about Tom Brady's cliff, right? Then he's bucking the odds. The odds are stacked against him. And if he does it, great. But I don't think you can assume that with almost no examples in history, he's going to be one of them.
Oh, Max, please, give me a break. Look, Kevin Durant is the best scorer to ever touch a basketball. He's the best scorer in NBA history. That's first off. Let me tell you something about Kevin Durant.
Not true.
Kevin Durant eats, sleep, and breathe basketball. He's not one of those guys, those NBA players that get caught up in the limelight outside of basketball, the club and the jury, the cars. No, he's from his house to the basketball court. He is the true definition of a gym rat, And here's why. I played with Kevin Durant for 4.5 years with the Oklahoma City Thunder. When he fractured his foot, I would go into the gym to get on the elliptical to make sure I made weight the next day because I had to keep my weight down. I would go in there late at night. Kevin Durant would be in there shooting jump shots, sitting down in a chair because he couldn't put pressure on his foot. So when I tell you this, Max, and we're hearing these rumors, and you hear a guy like Jared Allen say that KD is back, you better believe it. And Stephen A. Smith is right. He could get out of the bed and drop 25 in his sleep or 27 in his sleep. Look, if KD is 80% healthy at the start of the season.
Thank you.
80%. If he's 80%, not only will he be back to KD, but KD, the way that he loves the game of basketball and him being away from it for 1.5 years and have to watch others go out there and compete and have fun and watch.
And I was going to mention that. I'm telling you right now, Kevin Durant's going to be a top 2, top 3 candidate for league MVP next year. This brother going to put on a show in Brooklyn. For the first, and think about what you said, Max. Think about what you said about Brooklyn. If you know, Max, what Brooklyn is, all right? If you know what Brooklyn is, what you think he know about Brooklyn since he elected to go there and he's been there sitting down watching them for the last year? It's going watch.
Wait a minute.
Y'all watch.
That's not the question. I'm not doubting that he can win a championship in Brooklyn. I think it would be great. I'm rooting for it to happen. I think there's a really good chance it will. That's not the question.
Question was, do we
KD
have doubts about
being
KD
is not what you say. 80% of being KD, Perk. Stephen A., that's not KD. 80% of KD is not KD. Stephen A., I appreciate your point about the fact that this is not, I think it's a good one, that this is not like regular seasons. He's had extra time to come back, usually from a catastrophic injury, a year to get back and then another year to get back to what you were. So maybe at the end of the year, he could still be KD, but the odds are even stacked against that. I heard the same thing about Kobe Bryant. I was in LA at the time. He's going to go back to being Kobe. Talk about a gym rat, right? Talk about a dude who's just thinking about basketball in the middle of LA and worldwide celebrity. He was laser focused on it, and he never got back to being Kobe Bryant. He had flashes of himself. He was never Kobe again, not the real Kobe Bryant like we knew. So KD's a little younger. KD doesn't have as many miles on him as Kobe. I think KD will get back to being an all-star. The odds say he can, even if he's 80% of himself. But that ain't KD. 80% of KD ain't KD, Perk.
But Max, you keep talking about odds and you keep talking about history. You bringing up Dominique Wilkins. Man, that was back in the 70s and 80s. They got more technology. And by the way, Dominique Wilkins, like 75% of his career, of 75% of his talent relied on athleticism. KD don't rely on athleticism like that, Max. Max, listen to what I'm trying to tell
Dominique
you, man.
Was one of the
this
few
man
who
is
got
the best.
back. I'm using him as an example of success. There aren't that many.
But you act like KD is a heavyweighter. This is a lightweight. Yes, he's long and lanky, but he's not carrying the bulk of weight. He's skinny, so it's not going to be that much pressure on his Achilles. And I'm not a doctor, and I'm not about to go back and forth with you about history about Achilles because you're not a doctor either. I'm telling you, if you're hearing the rumors and guys like Jared Allen, and I heard other players that have been playing with KD saying KD is back, you better believe it because I played with him for 4 years, and I'm going to tell you again, he was out with a fractured foot, and I was going to the gym on a late night, and the man was in the gym sitting down in a chair getting spot shots up from 15 foot to the three-point line. He is a gym rat. He's been out for 1.5 years, and you better believe that he's going to come back on the tab.
The point is, Max, you bring up Kobe.
I'm wrong.
Kevin Durant is about 5 inches taller and a wingspan that's got about 6 or 7 inch wingspan advantage. It's not the same situation. Preach. It really isn't.
Preach.
The reason I didn't want him playing in that finals And remember, I was saying, Stephen A., we were on the road, right? I mean, we took a show to Golden State, right? And I was saying he shouldn't play in these finals. And the reason was I didn't want him to compromise the rest of his prime because I didn't care what they told me. That looked like an Achilles to me, not a calf. And then it happened officially, right? My fear was not that KD wouldn't work hard, that he couldn't get back on an NBA court, that he wouldn't be an excellent player again. My fear is he'd never be KD again. He would never be the player as great. He was at the apex of his powers, it looked like. He'd never get back there. Guys, I hope you're right and I'm wrong. I don't want to be right about this take. I want to be wrong. But that's not what the history of this injury says. If he is able to get back to his real self, he will be one of a handful of people to ever do it. I hope he is. But the odds are against it.
But here's the problem.
The odds are against it.
But yeah, the odds. Yeah, we heard you with the odds. We got it. Here's the flip side to it. Again, you always lose something. MJ lost some things. Kobe lost some things. But they modified themselves in their game in a way that enabled you to sit up there and say they were still who they are. It might have been a different version, but they were who they are. I'm saying to you, yes, you could talk about KD and him moving a foot the way that he used to a customary list. You might see some modification. You might see some difference. But in the end, what you expect from KD is what he's going to give you. That's what myself and Kendrick Perkins are saying. Now, you can pick how,
guys,
but what you expect
KD...
from him is what you're going to get.
I think we're overstating. Well, his game isn't predicated on athleticism. Part of his greatness is he's athletic at his size, right? But whereas Jordan could develop a better outside shot, so could Dominique, actually, which is what he did after injury. I'm not talking about Jordan after injury. You're saying something always goes, you have to compensate. What is it that Kevin Durant is going to develop that he doesn't already have? Right? Like, it's not, well, Durant's going to learn how to shoot. He already shoots. Was he going to play defense better? Actually, harder to with the Achilles injury. But he already plays defense. He already does all those things.
That's the wrong question. That's the wrong question. Here's the right question. Hold on. Hold on, Max. Here's the right question, because that's the wrong one. The right question is, what is he going to be missing? Based on what you've seen him do on the court, what is it that Kevin Durant is going to be missing that you think we need to be concerned about?
Some athletic ability and also probably... Probably the minutes will go down, probably the defense will suffer, and probably some athletic ability suffers.
Max, listen. It's multiple players that have been playing pickup ball with Kevin Durant and have came out over the past few months and said that KD is back. He's back. What else do you need to know? Like, these are guys that don't have to make up anything. They're telling you. We are playing with this guy in pickup every single day, and he looks better than what he did before he got hurt.
I'm glad to hear it.
And we know this because what? Okay, so why are you constantly wanting to argue about the history? And I'm sitting up here telling you that guys, that from what I've been hearing, that the players that been playing with KD said that he's back. And me and Stephen A. telling you that if KD's back, which we know he is, it's about to be a problem.
So playing pickup games is the same thing as playing in this case a 72-game season plus playoffs in the NBA. That's the same thing. No, I don't doubt he can hit high heights. Can you sustain it over the course of a season? What's the minutes load even going to be? It's not going to be the same.
Basketball is basketball as long as you playing against elite level, Max. When you ever been inside UCLA or the pickup runs when they go and compete, the NBA players, they play for hours. Max. Winner stay on. Check ball. High-level competition. That's what he's doing on a day-to-day basis. Basketball is basketball, especially when you playing against elite and the same caliber players and the guys that you're going to be competing with. So I'm telling you, Max, that KD is back. Stephen A. is telling you this.
And remember this, Max, this is the key point. if you need to worry about something, I have no problem, Max, if you're sitting there and you're saying, excuse me, I'm worried about him getting hurt again. Just like you were worried about him getting hurt in the finals. But I'm saying if he's out on the court and he's healthy, look the hell out. Because he's unstoppable. He's unguardable. Period.
Once again, coming off this injury, not without exception, but almost without exception. There are only a handful of differences. There are only a handful of exceptions.
Why can't he be the exception? Why can't he be the exception, Max? He's the exception with everything else. How come he can't be the exception
I
here?
can't take this anymore. This is too much.
Coming off this injury, almost always the minutes go down, the efficiency goes down, and the production goes down. I'm not making it up. This is true.
But you said with few exceptions. And I said, how come he can't be the exception? He's been the exception with everything else. Why are you picking up numbers in history? How come he can't be the exception?
It's possible he can, and if he does, he'll be the exception that proves the rule.
Oh, it is possible.
If he
so
does.
now it's possible.
But if I was a betting man,
But we're saying he's the exception to the rule.
Excuse me.
again.
Excuse me. I need to say something.